Wonderful. All right, welcome. It is May 14th, planning board. We had one work session this week, which was Bud Boys. Anything on the agenda for next week?
Yeah.
First next session. Minutes. Everyone have an opportunity to review the minutes? Any questions, comments, changes? No? Motion to approve the minutes. I'll move. Second. Bill, all in favor? Great. All right. First up on the list, we've got Lemoyne, and let's see. First off, Sarah is here as an alternate, standing in place for Jenny. She needs to recuse herself for Lemoyne. All right, follow that one. Okay. First up, Lemoyne. Yes. Want to give us an update? Quick, short.
They changed.
Thing changed.
Mostly underground. I don't think it's that exciting. Yeah. We met the SWIFT requirements this week. I saw each other.
Yeah, I think we've got.
Another park. Right. It's huge containers to hold water under the parking lot.
Okay. We've kind of looked at this one a bunch. Are there any further questions? Lemoyne? No. I will.
These county referral. This was the most lengthy referral I've seen from the community.
Yeah,
And they did have a condition.
which is included here.
We've gotten.
Do you have that?
Yeah, it's in here. All right. I will offer the motion to approve the site plan documents. Drawings last dated 4/23/2026 and labeled C001, C101, C201, C301, C601, C602, C603, and that actually EO999.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
The lights.
Mhm.
Lights.
As it relates to the parking lot only, with the following findings and conditions. This board has reviewed the SEAF of applicant dated 2/11/2026 and grants a negative secret declaration for this unlisted action. This board has received the Onondaga County Planning Board referral of 5/13/2026, which contains a modification relating to this SWIP, which this board accepts as a condition below. This approval is considered a modification of the overall campus improvements and multiple site plan approvals previously approved by this board with respect to Lemoyne campus. Conditions: the following requested Onondaga County Planning Board modification is adopted as a condition of this approval. The Onondaga County Department of Water Environment Protects requires that the project within protection. That's what I thought. Required.
I think I lifted that way up. I didn't really see what that, like, didn't take anything, but I'm gonna look just for the head. Okay.
Requires that projects within an Onondaga County drainage district that require a stormwater pollution prevention plan. The applicant must submit a copy of the SWIP to the department for review, and any mitigation required is a condition of this approval. Good with that? Great.
Yeah.
This approval supplements the prior approvals granted by this board for the campus and is not intended to modify or substitute any other prior approvals for site plan, except as specifically shown herein as it relates to the improvements in this approved site plan. This approval is made with the condition that this approval is for plans and other submitted documents, site plan documents that have been signed by the planning board chairperson, and the applicant requires that all the work shown be completed by this applicant in order for a certificate of occupancy or compliance to be issued. Any proposed changes, additions, or deletions to the scope of work or materials from the site plan documents are not approved and are subject to further site plan review pursuant to the Town of DeWitt Code Section 192-122. Applicant remains responsible for obtaining any building permits or other permits from the town or regulatory agencies as may be required for the improvement and or site plan work approved in the site plan approval. Any further comments? Move to approve. Second. Randy this time, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
There.
There you go. I lifted it, I didn't even word it.
Yeah. All right, next up, we've got Grandjean Wagner Gator
Exonerated.
parking lot. Oh, anyone online?
Yes, yep, I'm here. This is Nick.
Got Nick. Nick is online.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. All right, so this is another, we've seen this one a number of times. You want to give us a quick update?
Yes, just kind of an overview of what we're doing. If you're familiar with the site, it's very low. The building itself is very low. We sit next to a marsh on the left side, looking at the drawing that has over time basically flooded our parking lot. So in the design plan, we basically are moving the parking lot away from the marsh area, adding grass there, adding vegetation there to help absorb the water, and then working on just getting the water to be shed off of the parking lot so we don't have the standing water. Otherwise, it's really pretty much the same footprint. It's actually slightly smaller, just with that small kind of what you call that little jut out there where, yep, you've got it highlighted right there, which was just part of the design from our landscape architect. It does require removal of just a couple small trees. In fact, one of them fell down this winter. The other ones are just kind of small shrubs, so fairly minimal removal of vegetation. Actually, quite a bit of vegetation on the property to begin with, but otherwise, it's a fairly simple project, other than the sense of just getting it kind of lined up as best as we could with our landscape architect to get the water mitigated off of the parking lot, so that we don't have the standing water on a go forward basis.
Great. Again, Mark's kind of looked at this one. No additional comments.
Just out of curiosity, does the property next to you and their building and lot have the same problem?
No, they're elevated from us. They're probably at least a couple feet higher. Unfortunately, the way they built our building, they built it low for some reason. For example, look out my window. I actually look at somewhat of a berm. They kind of dug out the building to sit it low. Must have been the original design plan for some, I don't know if it was an aesthetic reason or what it was. This was built before we owned it. And, just unfortunately, there's been an issue with water. The previous owner had run a pipe underneath the parking lot, kind of goes from one side to the other. That's created kind of like a speed bump. You can see it on the left-hand drawing there. You'll see that line that kind of runs at an angle across the parking lot that's filled with water, and then it creates like a speed bump that also creates pooling on the far side. So that kind of top area fills with water during the winter. That becomes ice. We'll get like 10 inches of ice over there with holes, and just not a good situation. We're a tax and accounting firm, so it's our busiest time of year with foot traffic. So really, we're looking obviously to mitigate that and not have that water build up on the lot, so it's not degrading and causing issues for clients and staff.
No further comment. I'm gonna offer a motion to approve the plans last dated 2/19/2026, being drawings L 1.0 and L 2.0, with the following findings and conditions. The site plan review application was necessitated because the applicant desired to modify the parking lot due to drainage issues. The applicant was advised by the department to apply for the PJD with the DEC. ACOE issued a letter with no permit required, and DEC took jurisdiction over the adjacent wetland. The applicant worked with the DEC to devise a plan that meets DEC's requirements. DEC issued a wetland permit effective 3/5/2026 and expiring 3/4/2029, with a requirement to comply with the New York State DEC and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers requirements with respect to the requirement that the parking lot be shifted away from the wetland areas. This board has reviewed the SEAF of applicant dated 7/22/2025 and grants a negative secret declaration for this unlisted action. This board has reviewed the Onondaga County Planning Board referral September 3rd, 2025, which determined no significant adverse intercommunity or countywide implications for this project. Conditions, that the light shown on the plan shall be mounted with no tilt. You good with that one?
Yep. Already worked through that with Eric within the town, so that's all set.
Okay, applicant is required to request for screening to the New York Natural Heritage Program or the Regional DEC Division of Environmental Permits Office. This approval is made with the further condition that this approval is for plans and other submitted documents, site plan documents that have been signed by the planning board chairperson. And the applicant requires that all the work shown be completed by the applicant in order for a certificate of occupancy or compliance to be issued. Any proposed changes, additions, or deletions to the scope of work or materials from the site plan documents are not approved and are subject to further site plan review pursuant to Town of DeWitt Code Section 192-122. Applicant remains responsible for obtaining any building permits or other permits from the town or regulatory agencies as may be required for the improvements and or site plan work approved in this site plan approval. I have a motion. Second, Kathy, all in favor? Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
That we have National Grid. Another one that we worked through.
No major changes from the last go round. The only one item that got added were some bollards at the overhead doors for protection. Everything else is as it was to this go round. So,
Any further questions on this one? I'll offer a motion to approve the site plan dated April 24th, 2026. Plans being drawings labeled AD 100, 110, A100, 100A, 101, 110, 200, 300, 301, 302, 400, 600, 601, with the following findings and conditions. This is a modification to the existing building on the site to incorporate fleet maintenance for National Grid in the facility. This project is exempt from Montezuma County Planning Board review. This board has reviewed the SEA of applicant dated 3/16/2026 and granted negative secret declaration for this unlisted action. This approval is made with the condition that this approval is for plans and other submitted documents, site plan documents that have been signed by the planning board chairperson, and the applicant requires that all work shown be completed by the applicant in order for a certificate of occupancy or compliance to be issued. Most changes, additions, or deletions to the scope of work or materials from the site plan documents are not approved and are subject to further site plan review pursuant to Town of DeWitt Code Section 192-122. Applicant remains responsible for obtaining any building permits or other permits from the town and regulatory agencies as may be required for the improvements and or site plan work approved in the site plan approval. Motion to approve. Sarah? Kevin, all in favor? Yes, thank you.
appreciate it.
I am going to actually slide the Reed Rolex project up here. In the fourth spot. Get these edition.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys throwing us on the agenda. Contractors submitted, Vincent, Captain Freeman Associates, by the way. Contractor submitted a late change. Originally it was concrete for the driveway into the new Reed's facility. The contractor switched to asphalt, so the plans are updated. The pavement details and colors will remain the same outside of the change to the different company. But otherwise everything else remains the same. It's literally material change.
Yeah, this is just an amendment to the current site plan that's there. Any questions? I'm gonna offer the motion to approve the site plan last updated, 5/13/2026, with respect to a change of material to stamped asphalt as shown on the plan. This is a very minor modification to a site plan approval for this project, which was last modified 12/16/2025. This project is exempt from the Onondaga County Planning Board referral. This board has reviewed the SEAF of applicant dated 4/23/2026 and grants a negative secret declaration for this unlisted action. Except as specifically modified herein, all findings and additions of the 12/16/2025 269. Site plan approval and prior approvals as therein incorporated are unmodified and in full force and effect. Applicant remains responsible for obtaining any building permits or other permits from the town and regulatory agencies as may be required for the improvements and or site plan work approved in the site plan approval. I will move. Second. Bill, favor? And thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, we got Ironhorn Phase 2. Looking to do a recommendation here.
Yes.
Let me kind of go through what we're trying to
Yeah, just a quick. There's another one I think we've seen.
Yeah, so we, as part of phase two, because they decided that they weren't able to get their trucks in and out as efficiently as they'd like or as safely as they'd like. We changed this parking around a little bit. We had in the previous phase, there was existing parking located in this area here and a driveway that's here. And as part of this, and there was some banked parking from the previous approval that was up front. This is flipped this way. So in order to make this kind of work better, because we were going to put parking here, but so far away, the front entrance is right there. We wanted to try to get that parking just for convenience and ADA accessibility, that sort of thing. So the problem that we ended up with was that some of it is pre-existing, some of it is kind of previously approved as banked, but it doesn't meet your site plan design guidelines. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where the building's already there, the entrance, and spot that's not, would probably be redesigned, configured differently today. But we're trying to figure out how to make it work for everybody. But I think we've pulled this away a couple of feet from the property line. I think that asphalt right now is right up against the property line, so we pulled it away as much as we can. There's still a decent amount of space here. There's probably another 10, 12 feet plus the 12, keeping it away from the asphalt pavement. Not a busy road at all. It's a pretty low volume road. And we did add some landscaping in here and here, and cut out one driveway, so there's only two instead of what would have been 3 driveways. So we're looking for is a variance on that 20-foot buffer. If we're not able to get that variance, to be frank, we would have no parking in the front here. We'd have to put it all the way to the side.
Is the variance just for the area we're talking about with the parking relative to the property line, or is it the entire front yard?
No, it's just I think the front yard, it's pre-existing, so I don't know if it even need a variance. We're not adding anything in the front, but it is for part of this parking lot, because again, part of it, about half of it is existing, a little less than half of it is existing.
I mean, I'm talking about the buffer itself, so we're going from 20 feet to 2 feet is the request. But it means it's the entire frontage of the property. That's what
So
applies.
is this 20 feet in here?
There.
Yeah, 19 and 2, yeah, 21. Should be 21 feet.
So the 2 foot is only for parking.
Yeah, that's really what my question is. It's just an ask for
It's a
the
relief
area
on that 20 foot where the parking.
where the
area
parking is, so.
Yes. So I think
But the variance is just for landscaping setback. Like, we can't specify it just for that area.
so it's the entire.
So it would be the entire frontage, is what it would mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what variance is. Front landscape buffer.
You
Give a
couldn't
variance
isolate it
just
to a
for
certain
that
area.
portion. I mean, can we,
I thought for top,
So can we what?
like, condition that it's only for the area of, I mean,
Sure.
That's what I thought we were looking at.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Maintaining
make,
the 20 feet everywhere except for where that parking field
Yes.
is.
We're fine with that.
You know, based on this,
Yeah.
this layout. Yeah. Handwriting on that now.
Should have been a doc.
Oh, I got the architect, like, all caps.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? So this is for a recommendation to the ZBA. This is a positive recommendation to the zoning board of appeals to allow for a 2-foot landscape buffer in the front yard at the parking area only as reflected on the plans, where the code requires 20 feet. This board has reviewed the property and the area and finds that the area variance to allow for a smaller landscape buffer area is appropriate for the lot and its configuration is reasonably compatible with the neighborhood. That will be our recommendation to the ZBA. Good?
Good.
Seconds, all in favor? Unanimous, you're off the ZBA.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we've got zone change for East Genesee Street. So you'll have probably about 10 minutes of time to present.
That should be enough.
Okay.
First of all, I want to clarify some housekeeping items. Has this been referred to county planning?
No,
Why?
we've seen that.
When?
I don't know yet.
Why?
It's referred from the town board, not from this board.
I asked that you submit it. There's no
It needs to
reason,
be submitted before a final decision.
there's no reason for delay.
Only if
Okay.
the
It's not a
determination
delay,
is
though.
done back before
Okay.
the final decision is made by the town board, not this board.
I said my piece. Thank you. First of all, as I wrote in the application, nothing I say here tonight is an admission or an acknowledgement that parcels 1.1 or 1.2 require a zone change. Okay, just the opposite. Okay. Now, these two lots are located in the southeast area of the corner of Janesville Road, East Genesee Street. Now, the parking lot consists of 5 different parcels, including the 2 parcels that we're talking about tonight. Okay. And those are improved today, improved with parking, striping, drainage, grading, circulation, drive aisles, curbing, sidewalks, lighting. Did I say lighting already? And they've been so improved for the last 50 years, just about 50 years, continuously in harmony with the surrounding neighborhood, fully integrated with that neighborhood. They've operated as one, meaning the whole is greater than the sum of their parts. They work in a coordinated and an integrated manner, functionally inseparable, operationally indistinguishable. If you went out there today, you wouldn't see any lines on the pavement. They share access, circulation, drainage, site lighting, to name a few. Pull any one of those from the parking lot, and it ceases to function as a cohesive lot. To the point where any decision that's made that would deny this application is tantamount to a taking. Incidentally, there's no evidence in the record anywhere that the parcels were expressly identified in any past zoning application. You probably have already seen this.
I'm not,
How are you? Good. Okay, now on to the criteria found in 192, 121, A3C3. Comprehensive plan. Your comprehensive plan recognizes that no zoning map is perfect. Okay, and where there are differences between classifications and the real world uses on the ground. The comp plan requires a rezone. Otherwise, it's spot zoning. This application should be nothing more than a map correction. It simply brings the zoning map into conformance with existing conditions. Compatibility with present zoning and nearby uses. The subject parcels are located in, I quote, the geographic center that's recognized by your comp plan and characterized by suburban style office buildings, retail strip centers, and single-use commercial retail / office parcels bordered by residential neighborhoods. That's this piece. Examples. To the west. If you can bring up
aerial image.
Aerial image, yeah, please. Well, I'll just keep talking while you bring it up. Yeah. There's a strip center. And right to the east, right across Janesville Road. To the rear of it is office and an apartment building that extend south this far. South of our site. To the east, you have the fire department. To the east of the fire department, you have a gas station. Across the street, okay, you have a 10-tenant, multi-tenanted building, Chase Bank, office building, various other buildings. In the broader geographic area, that geographic center, are 105, no less than 105 businesses. Suitability of the proposed use. It's the same use. It's not going to change. It's been like that for 50 years. You can't have more proof positive evidence that that is compatible with the neighborhood. Now, not only will this be compatible with the neighborhood, the rezone doesn't change the current use. It's going to stay a parking lot. We're not going to build a building on it. It's going to stay the same. It seeks to preserve the status quo. In other words, the existing parking lot is part of an established pattern. And the rezoning simply preserves, not alters, the existing character. Availability of public services. They're all there. Roads, water, sewer, electricity, gas, and since the rezoning preserves the status quo, no new burden will be placed on infrastructure. Is the zone change for the public good, or does it benefit only the property owner? This application advances a legitimate planning objective because it would correct its zoning anomaly with a map consistent with the comp plan. Are the parcels developable for use in the listed R2 district? No, they're not. These parcels are too small. Once land is set aside for setbacks, buffering, landscaping, there's little room left for development. And that's leaving aside the incompatibility with the Res 2 commercial in a commercial setting and the introduction and mitigation of potentially new environmental impacts that you would have to review under seeker. So with that said, I respectfully ask for your positive recommendation. And I should have said at the beginning, I think my application speaks for itself. It was very thorough. These were just some of the highlights.
Thank you for the time. I think this is given us some information. This is certainly something that we have not considered lightly across the town. I think only once in many years, 20-something years at least, that has been done. So we need to deliberate this and discuss this based on your comments and your information that you provided.
In public.
Yeah, I mean, our board will discuss it.
In public.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, tonight?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to give the board an opportunity to review the information that's been provided here with what you provided tonight.
I provided it on April 16th. It was a month
Great.
ago.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're waiting for you to present. This is the first time that you've been up in front of us to present, and we appreciate you being here to do that. Now that we have your information, heard your assessment of everything, so we'll take that opportunity to review based on that against the town criteria. And then I think we'll have another opportunity to discuss this. And we'll set up a work session at some point or another hearing. So,
Okay,
are there any questions
we,
at this time for the applicant? No?
you know, I don't understand why that you're lowballing this.
We're not solo this.
I think, yeah,
No, I think you're trying to expedite this. I think we need to do our due diligence. This is not something that the town will take lightly. It's not something this board will take lightly. And whatever recommendation we provide to the town board is the one that's gonna act on the application. We're gonna provide a recommendation.
okay,
I think we need to look at this. This has not been done across the town. This is not something that we just do all the time. The town has its due diligence to take care of, and we will do that.
so when will you set this up for the board check?
I'm gonna talk to Alana and Eric and we'll figure out. And I don't have an answer for you right here, but we'll work with you to get that done.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
appreciate the information. Thank you. Okay. I think next up we have kind of the zoning map. Want to give us an overview?
So we're proposing an updated zoning map for the town. We began the process of updating the townwide zoning map in March of 2024. We've been working on this map with Onondaga County Department of Planning. And our main goals for the map were to modernize the map. The map has not been updated since 2008. New map is GIS based for the first time. Going forward, county planning will maintain our digital map and any changes will be much easier to track. We also want to incorporate overlay districts, including the mixed use village MUV overlay districts, which until now have been on a completely separate map. Also looking to incorporate any zone changes that occurred since 2008 and updating the parcel data to accurately reflect the current lot lines in the town. So the new map will not be zone any part of the town. All zoning changes shown on the map were approved by the town board since 2008. Changes that have occurred since 2008, which are reflected on the proposed zoning map, include the MUV floating overlay district, which was adopted in 2018 and amended in 2023. The transportation and distribution node overlay district was adopted in 2019. This is something we still need to add to the map, so we're working with county planning to get that on there.
So the one I didn't want
The transportation node overlay district, so that's not on the current map that you see, so we'll get a final map to you guys. Before the next meeting. MUV two overlay district was applied to 6800 East Genesee Street in 2024. The James Street 2 and 3 family residential overlay district was adopted in 2025 and applied to a corridor along James Street. There was a zone change of 3 parcels and a portion of the 4th parcel on Old Stonehouse Road from high tech to RO in 2025 that was initiated by the town board. And there was a zone change of a portion of a parcel at 6475 Collimer Road from industrial to business transitional in 2025. Those are the only changes.
Okay. So again, this is the first that we're kind of taking an opportunity to look at this. Are there any questions from the board?
So I do have a question. As the county is updating, the county's gonna maintain this for us.
Yeah.
Now, and they're gonna update the parcel data on it.
Yes.
I think it comes out quarterly. Are they gonna update that quarterly or what's?
So right now they have the 2025
Okay.
parcel data. It sounds like the 2026 might be released any day. So I'm hoping that before this goes all the way through the process, that we'll have the 2026 parcel data that we can get in the map. But right now it's 2025.
Okay. And yeah, I guess that's my question. Like, as
Yeah.
they get new parcel data, do they just update it? Like every time it comes out and apply
I'm
it
not
or?
sure exactly
Okay.
how that works, like if we would have to readapt the plan or if we can like publish, like put out a new copy of the plan that doesn't change any zoning, but just updates personal data.
Yeah.
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think we'll have to.
But they're providing us with like a PDF map, not a digital, like,
Yes.
all like.
It's not
Map that you can move around.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Parcel map.
Yeah.
all right, I got it.
Can I ask a question?
Not right now, this is separate matter.
This was referred to county planning. Wasn't it?
Yes,
Why?
that's part of the process.
Mhm.
Actually, this hasn't been yet. Actually, no, this hasn't been yet.
It is. I have the schedule for the 13th. Or yesterday, it has been. Text amendment.
What to say?
Is that the business?
That might be something.
The restaurants and business transition.
I
Yeah,
don't think we.
that was something that we dealt with in the last one. This is not, sorry,
Okay.
this is the first that we're kind of working through this,
Understood, thank you.
so. All right, so with that, thank you for that one. I think we'll do the same, take an opportunity here. What was there, we'll take a look at it. We'll discuss it again, table this for now. Okay. And next up, unless there are any other questions, no. Next up, we've got a discussion around the kind of the way battery energy storage systems local law draft. Another one,
Okay, do this one.
you got this one.
So this is our battery energy storage system draft. The town board put a moratorium on battery energy storage systems in June of last year, and that moratorium was extended once in December and it now expires this June. So we're trying to get best code on the books. So I'll just kind of run through a high level summary of the code and if you have any questions. So the code differentiates between behind the meter and front of the meter bus systems. Behind the meter means connected to the distribution system on the customer side of the utility meter. It operates similarly to like a generator. Front of the meter is installed on the utility side of the utility meter. So we're proposing 3 tiers of BESS. Tier 1 is less than or equal to 80 kilowatt hours, single energy storage system technology, and behind the meter only. This would be permitted in residential districts as an accessory use or structure upon issuance of a development permit. It would be permitted in all non-residential districts as an accessory use structure upon site plan review and issuance of a development permit. And they would be prohibited in the front yard. Tier 2 is more than 80 kilowatt hours, less than 600 kilowatt hours, single energy storage system technology, and behind the meter. This is permitted in the industrial district only as an accessory use and structure, requires site plan review and issuance of a development permit. And there would be currently a 100-foot setback from property line or from property line of lots containing residential dwelling or public park or residentially zoned lots. Tier 3 is greater than 600 kilowatt hours, may be more than 1 storage battery technology, and may be behind the meter or in front of the meter. Permitted in the industrial district only as a primary or accessory use structure. Requires site plan review, issuance of a specific use permit, and issuance of a development permit. A lot on which Tier 3 BESS is located must be at least 1,000 feet from any lot with a dwelling or public park use or residential district boundary line as measured from the nearest lot lines. A lot on which Tier 3 BESS is located must be at least 100 feet away from any state or federal wetlands. So the code outlines permitting requirements for BESS. So there's several categories on there: utilities, lines, and circuitry, signage, vegetation and tree cutting, noise, setbacks, height, commissioning plan, decommissioning plan, and some of those things like decommissioning plan. The New York State, the new fire code that came out this year, has a lot more details about that. Fire safety compliance plan, same thing with that one, that's in the fire code. Operation and maintenance manual, emergency operations plan for Tier 2 and Tier 3. So again, a lot of that's in the fire code, the details of that. Decommissioning fund, the town would require a cash escrow balance, insurance requirements, and limited site access agreement. And then there are site plan review requirements for BESS, which includes a long list of requirements. I'm not going to go through all of them, but some of the highlights. All components need to be fenced, and that would be reviewed. All of this would be reviewed by the planning board as part of site plan. Lighting must meet lighting code, and poles can't be more than 5 feet taller than the BESS system. Screening and visibility, want to minimize views from adjacent parcels and rights of ways. 100 feet back from public right of way or adjacent property line, but we need to discuss setbacks a little bit more, I think. Floodplain analysis required for all BESS in floodplain. So for any ownership changes, there's a procedure for change in ownership, which would require the applicant to notify the department and apply for the ZBA to amend their specific use permit. Tier 3 BESS system shall be inspected every year by a registered professional engineer or special expert meeting all the requirements of the uniform code. And then there's requirements for abandonment of Tier 2 or Tier 3 BESS.
How is that enforced? If somebody's
Where's the tract?
yeah, I mean,
So
how
basically, well,
I think we still got discussion on that.
yeah,
okay.
yeah, but basically, if they don't go through those processes, they lose all their permits.
But
It could be licensing, could be a special use.
yeah, but what stops them from operating, right? I mean,
We're also supposed to be implemented every year, so they will get information through fast.
okay, sorry.
No,
Thank you.
the last thing I was gonna talk about was abandonment of Tier 2 or Tier 3 BESS. The system is abandoned when it ceases to operate consistently for 1 year, and failure to follow decommissioning requirements. The town can utilize cash escrow balance to remove the BESS. That's an overview.
So I'm gonna just kind of, as my eyes glaze over on all of this. Here's the gist of it. Because I kind of got involved in some of this later drafting. Alana took the bull by the horn. She's been working on this for a long time. So I came in from a planning board standpoint. Here's the two things I know about these systems. They're ugly and they catch on fire. Okay, so from a planning standpoint, right, from this board, like, you know, what you might want to think about being concerned about. You know, that's my opinion, and that's sort of some of the things that were addressed when I got involved in this process. So where this actually is going to, at this point in time, by this legislation, where it's going to end up going is in industrial only. And then there's a big radius for if it's anything residential. And there's a setback from the road, substantial, and there's going to be screening. So I think, do we kind of have one of those maps that Doug had sent? But there's a very limited area where it actually can go. It's not going to be in high tech. It's not going to be any place else. So, and then there's this big buffer around it. And so when we're looking at this, and I really would, you know, hope that people will look at it to see if those things are addressed. You know,
Now, when you say a buffer, would you explain that? Is it just on their property that it would be a buffer?
no, it can't be so many feet from
Other
residential.
buildings? No, how about other buildings?
No,
That's
That-
based on the fire code.
yeah, the fire code has a
But there's a 1,000 foot buffer.
1,000.
Residential parcels. From a lot that has like a dwelling on it or a park or residentially zoned parcels.
So even if you're in an industrial zone and you have a house. The
Dwelling at that point.
dwelling at that point, or an apartment building would be a dwelling. So it covers quite a bit. It can be accessory, however, so it can be behind somewhat an industrial building. Like if you've got a lot and you want to have this on your lot, you can do that, provided it's, you know, within the buffer.
That's what I'm asking.
Areas.
The building.
But that setback from the building is building height. I don't know what it
Only
is.
30 feet.
Hmm?
It's only 30 feet.
It's only 30 feet from another building.
In the fire code. What we pointed
Eric, do you scrolling to the screening part? And I can review this. Not right this second. I'm just curious to know. Cause to Jamie's point, the one thing, the first thing you mentioned is they're ugly.
Right.
Yeah.
They're horrendously ugly. You know, there's screening, i.e. buffers, berms, ways to screen them from the road.
I also had a question about the screening because of the height of the screening matters, because you can't have something overhanging and fall on top of one of these. 'Cause I think that's.
Well, they're
The
really
area
tall.
around it has to be clear
Yeah.
for
Okay.
10 feet, I believe.
But if it's 1,000 feet away from the road, why need screening?
It's not 1,000 feet.
Not from the road, 1,000 feet from a residential use. So,
There's no need.
Could be within 30 feet of them.
yeah, whatever the front yard setback is, what was
Well, I think we
Well,
put a hundred.
50 feet, the 100-foot minimum from the street,
That's
Yeah.
what's in here right now.
right? So it's 100 feet back to the street, which
You still see it at that.
still, yeah, it's not close, but it's not far away. You can still see it, and if it's just a chain link fence that's there, you're still seeing it. Right, so it's still gotta be screened, still gotta be buffered. The
So
side
this-
yards are
yeah.
the bigger issue, you know, when you talk about these, cause I think we talked about. In industrial, it's 32 feet, well,
12 on
12 foot on one minimum. So. These things can be close up to the property line on either side, but you know, depth wise, they're 100 feet back from the street. I think we talked about 100 feet from a wetland. trying to keep and mitigate that as much as possible.
And you said there's decommissioning as well?
Yes,
Requirements?
in the fire code, there's a whole list of decommissioning requirements. I think we left some of that in here just since that's something the planning board will probably want to talk about site plan as well.
Yeah, I just worry about like legacy contamination and stuff like that. Like somebody they just abandon the property and there's somebody else or whatnot. I mean, you get, if there's a chemical spill or some contamination.
Like catches on fire and what happens to all the
Yeah,
batteries at that point?
that and the air pollution from the fires. It's basically airborne chemicals.
So as Jamie's eyes glazed over, mine get large.
We knew they would. We talked about you, Mr. Electric Guy.
And I barely breezed through it when I saw it on the email today. But I look forward to reading through it all and providing
Value feedback.
Technical.
No, and I think that's what it is. I mean, a lot is done.
Because I would be a
done
proponent for this.
But can I just on that, are we talking primarily about tier 3 right now? We're not talking about tier 1, small scale residential. Tier 2 is kind of a gray area. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're definitely focused on tier 3.
Tier 3 of the large.
Right, those are the mega systems.
Tier 2 would be probably small commercial businesses. So at 600.
I mean, I don't know what
They're
the
just doing it for their own personal use.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Like
It's the
a
tier
So
three,
the-
which is gonna be
battery.
utility.
My understanding, the tier 3, they're buying the energy in the nighttime hour that's cheapest, or they're absorbing green energy.
Just
and
curious.
feeding it back to the grid.
But tier 2 says between 80 kilowatts and 600 kilowatts. That's a big difference to
It's also kilowatt hours, not kilowatts.
kilowatt hours. I just wonder where that originates.
600 kilowatt hours, not very much.
Oh my, yeah. My car.
So the original
That's all I know.
state model code
Right.
only has 2 tiers. Is 80 that? It was 80 to 600 and above 600. So we wanted to add an extra tier just to capture those behind the meter systems that are, like attached to a business, kind of like a generator would be.
I think
But
that's
the most of
appropriate.
the tier 3 systems you're gonna see are more like 5 megawatts or multiples of 5.
So you're saying that tier 3s are not legal right now and do it?
So far,
Right now, there's a
we're-
moratorium on all BESS systems.
Including tier 1 and tier 2.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, how much did you change the model? Like how much different is this from the model? That's sort of interesting. I look forward to reading both.
Bill, I'm curious, you're saying you're a proponent for it. I'm very interested in hearing that. Where you come up with that, as is our supervisor, he's here.
Cause I am a proponent of sustainability and energy transition. And this is an important part of energy transition, just as solar panels are. It's about the capture and optimization of electricity distribution. Which cannot be done solely on fossil or even, as far as I'm concerned, nuclear based energy production. It's looking at what's available on the earth. And how do we caretake the earth while still providing for us what we need as a civilization and a species to continue doing what we do, as long as we're able to do it for the next billion years.
And just to build on that, my interest in the screening is related to that same motivation. We need these systems, but we need people not to hate them because they're like so horrible looking. So, if we can kind of nestle it into, if we can cite it appropriately and nestle it into places where they're not, making people really upset, that's the way that we want to do it.
And if we're screening, solid screening should be the adjective.
Well, when it comes here, it comes to for site plan approval and special
Yeah.
permits, so.
Sure.
But I think
It's an
to Kathy's
opportunity.
point, with that language now, that it's less of an
Yeah.
argument. They come in and
Right.
like, well, why can't we just do a picket fence?
So
You know,
here's
some-
screening language, if you wanna read it, it's written.
Yeah.
I think that's sufficient.
You wanna read it out loud? Because it's a little hard to see this.
Yeah.
Battery energy storage system shall have views minimized from adjacent properties and public rights of way to the extent reasonably practical, using architectural features, earth berms, landscaping, and or other screening methods that will harmonize with the character of the property and surrounding area and not interfere with ventilation or exhaust ports.
That might. You know, what do you?
I'm good.
Well, it's gonna be on
Even
this
like
floor.
Joey's Restaurant, you know, they put the fence up there. And you can see right through it and see all the,
There's a fencing section also.
Yeah.
Where it's up.
but I mean, even if they're gonna berm it and do it with shrubbery, it should be a solid.
Well, I mean, I go to the National Grid substation, one that we have
Mhm.
over on. That solid fence,
Yeah.
it's architectural, it's solid,
Right,
screened, all, you don't see what's behind it, I mean, other than.
that's what I'm
towers and
saying,
stuff
so
that
we
are
make
there,
sure.
but
I don't have any concern about the screening like any other substation or industrial environment. That we as a town wanna protect the views and images. I'm not quite sure where the idea that they're ugly are, because any industrial installation I've seen are basically boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ugliness is of a
Exactly
box.
that.
Exactly.
I mean, it's out of it, it looks like steel boxes,
Depends
you
where you
know,
come
steel
from, Bill.
storage containers that they've just like. Organized on the site, you
Yeah,
know, but I mean, it just, it looks,
that's
lit,
why
they're
we're
not
gonna-
attractive by any stretch.
That's why,
It's an industrial
in
zone.
this instance, this is.
Yeah,
why
but
we
even in
use
industrial zones, the
industrial.
buildings that we look at, we try to make as nice as possible if they're there.
There may be some technical information we're gonna probably wanna add for, as far as a. Help me out, Bill, electrical study, because
So-
you have to show what you can take, like the amount that you can take from the grid, what the grid can provide. Those,
Just like a hydro plant or a power plant or a PV field. Nothing energy wise happens until National Grid has evaluated.
Right, so is that something that National Grid would evaluate or that the town?
The National Grid would have the developer perform studies to its satisfaction, which show how it would affect the utility. The utility then looks at that study and on its own determines whether they believe their networks would be harmed. They don't have to tell you anything about it. They can-
So like in the solar, Bill,
Yeah,
like,
solar.
there's a Caesar,
Yes.
right? There's a
the-
Caesar.
The Caesar is gonna be used, whether it's a solar, whether it's a wind,
Right.
whether it's a battery.
And we may want to put in there that it's, and Jamie, we just went through this elsewhere. That it's an approved connection. With the
Before it
local,
gets approved.
with the local utility. And potentially ISO,
Yes.
right? I don't
Well,
know that we have any.
once you get above that 600, once you're talking about megawatts, then it's an ISO issue.
Right.
Especially if you're gonna do a payment process with them directly. But I don't see any problem and would support language in this about, it goes without saying. But there's many things we do without saying, like what we put at the end of our recommendations about having to get all the permits.
Like, would anyone ever even come in here if they thought they weren't gonna get that National Grid connection or?
I don't even see them coming in here
Right.
until they worked with National Grid. Because you're not
I'm not gonna-
taking one step. You can build whatever you want. But I can guarantee you, you're not touching National Grid's network distribution or sub-transmission or transmission until they say.
But some
They
of
have the
the,
tariff the same.
some of the data centers that are going in right now are having trouble with getting that permitted use because of the amount that they're trying to take. So that study is showing you can't do it.
Well,
They're getting to the point where they're doing the study. And it's
Right.
showing that offsetting.
in a business personal thing, as the electrical engineer for upstate, we're in the process of looking at growing our power needs at community, upstate community hospital. And right now we have 2 kV lines, which we get about 2 megawatts from each of them. And we're looking at a double or triple of that. And we're already getting pushback from National Grid, who isn't even playing nice in the sandbox with us about looking at what the possibilities are, also getting this small talk. I say that for no other reason than to say, yeah, don't do anything until they've agreed to it, to the point where you may even have to, I don't think we will, because we're the state, we just don't push people around. Go to the PSC about it. The reason that Micron is electrically sited where they are is because the governor's office went to the PSC, went to National Grid and said, from your clay yard, you will provide 2, 3, 45 kV transmission feeds to this site. There wasn't a question. But that's the only time you're gonna see something like that from the utility. And that's National Grid. We have 6 investor-owned utilities throughout New York State. You're gonna find the same situation with every one of them.
But would we stipulate something like you must have that study or approved prior to?
It goes without saying, but I would put it in there.
That's kind of.
Just because of.
So what I'll ask,
That's what we've done.
That's what I
on
was
solar.
what I'll ask is that everybody takes, I mean, this was sent around right to
This morning.
So take an opportunity to read through it and provide any comments and suggestions back to Alana. I'd ask probably in the next week or so, because ideally, in order to meet the moratorium in there, is that we'd like to try and get this recommendation back to the town board as soon as possible
At our next meeting,
at our next meeting.
yeah, so it.
When we
if
reply, should we reply to Alana?
Just Alana. You can copy me on it.
Like we do with other types of
Yeah.
correspondence.
Yep.
So we're not sharing.
Correct.
When
But so yeah, don't wait until the next meeting to have this discussion, read through that.
You're threatening me with a good time.
It'll look like somebody bled all over the thing, right?
Oh, it's gonna be one of my best engineering documents.
Do you want to add this to like workshop to talk about it again before?
We certainly can put it on. I mean, it could just be a discussion item.
It's for a business.
Sure.
Until you
Especially
start.
if we're gonna get a bunch of comments back.
Yeah, I mean, let's make it, they have our,
Like Bill, I mean, if you can send us some written comments before our next meeting in the Tuesday meeting, then we'll see if we can incorporate them and get
Before next week would be good.
before next
Yeah,
week.
just-
I mean.
You set me up for a wonderful weekend.
So.
so exciting. So yeah, let's get those, because I'd like to get that
Oh, no,
finalized and then off to the town, you know,
At our next.
at our next meeting in there. So. I don't believe we have any other agenda items unless there's further discussion.
Motion to adjourn. Oh, that's your job.
Second,
Kevin.
oh,
Oh, just
no, got it.
yeah.
All in favor?
Oh, crap.
Great, we are done.
So it's.
How many,